Hi everyone, welcome to the Unit 2 Study Guide video. This is over equations and inequalities. Our test is coming up soon. If you have my class on a B day, your test will be Wednesday, October the 12th. If you have my class on the A day, your test will be Thursday, October the 13th. So number one on the study guide, we have negative 2 times 3x plus 2 is greater than or equal to negative 6x minus 4. We just want to solve this for x. So we'll start by using the distributive property. So multiplying the thing on the outside by everything on the inside, we should get negative 6x minus 4 is greater than or equal to negative 6x minus 4. Right here, we know we got the same expression on both sides of the inequality sign, but we see that this has an equal sign under it, so we know that this solution is all real numbers. And what that means is any number that I plug in for x will make this a true statement because those two expressions are the same. When I plug in any number, no matter what it is, negative or positive, I should get the same two expressions, which are actually equal to each other. So that makes that all real numbers. So for number 2, we got 10x minus 10 minus 7x is greater than or equal to 3x minus 2. So we can start here by combining like terms. On the left side of the expression, we got 10x and negative 7x, which are like terms. So I can combine those two things together, and that'll give us a positive 3x minus 10 is greater than or equal to 3x minus 2. So now we can subtract 3x on both sides, and we see something weird happening here as well. This cancels, so we get negative 10 is greater than or equal to negative 2. And when we see our variable disappearing, we got two different numbers on the opposite sides of the inequality sign. We know this is no solution. Negative 10 is, in fact, not equal to negative 2, and it's also not greater than negative 2. So we know that this is not true. That's no solution. For number 3, we got w minus 2 is equal to negative 3. This is a one-step equation. We simply add 2 to both sides. So that's w is equal to negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. And that's our solution. Number 4, we're solving for h here. So this is h divided by 5, so we need to multiply by 5 on both sides. So that this 5 will cancel with the 5 in the denominator. On the right side, you'll have h equals 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. Number 4, 4.7x plus 3.8 is equal to 13.2. So just because this has decimals doesn't make it any more difficult than all the rest of the problems, especially if you have a calculator that can handle those decimals. So we're going to start out by subtracting 3.8 on both sides. So this is 4.7x is equal to 13.2 minus 3.8 is 9.4. So then we can just divide by 4.7 on both sides. Those cancel, so we got x is equal to 2. Number 6, what equation do you get when you solve z minus m is equal to z plus bx? We're solving this for x. So that means I want to get x by itself on the right side of the equation. So this z and b, I have to move to the other side, and we do that using inverse operations. So first I'm going to start by subtracting z from both sides. Z and the z cancel here. They also cancel here. So we bring everything else down. On the left side, it's just negative m is equal to On the right side, we have bx. Still trying to get x by itself, so we need to divide by b on both sides to cancel the b on the right side. So those cancel. We get x is equal to negative m over b. And that's solved for x. Number 7, in the diagram, the figures are similar. What is x? If these two figures are similar, I can set up a proportion. And as long as I'm using the correct corresponding parts, then we can set this up. So in my numerator, I'm going to have 16 centimeters is to x, as since I use the diagonal part on that triangle, the top part on the top over here, I need to use the top part over here. And the bottom part needs to go on the bottom. So now we cross multiply. That means I multiply the numerator over here by the denominator over here, and I multiply the denominator here by the numerator on this side. And then I set those equal to each other. So it's 25x, 25 times x is 25x, is equal to 16 times 9 is 144. Then we can divide both sides by 25. So we get x is equal to 5.76. What are the solutions to the compound inequality? Graph the solutions. So we got a compound inequality. We just need to solve both of these separately and then graph the solutions on the same number line. So here I'm going to start by subtracting 3 on both sides. This is 2x minus 1 over 3 is less than or equal to negative 4 minus 3 is negative 7. Next, I can multiply by 3 on both sides. Those 3's cancel. So I get 2x minus 1 is less than or equal to negative 21. You can add 1 to both sides. So we get 2x is less than or equal to negative 20. And last step is to divide by 2 on both sides. So we get x is less than or equal to negative 10. So that's one solution. On the other side, add 1 to both sides. We're going to get 8x minus 2 over 2 is greater than or equal to 7. We can multiply by 2 on both sides. So this is 8x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 14. We can add 2 to both sides here. That's going to give us 8x is greater than or equal to 16. And then we can divide by 8 on both sides. So let's give us x is greater than or equal to 2. It also asked us to graph this inequality. So I need to make a number line. I need to go from negative 10 to a positive 2. So I'm going to start at negative 11, negative 10, negative 9. So if I look at my signs here, my inequality signs, this says x is less than or equal to 10. And the fact that that's a less than or equal to lets me know that it's going to be a closed circle on 10. And I need to point towards the numbers that's less than negative 10. So that'll be the bigger negative numbers is less. On the number line, everything to the left is less. And on the other side, x is greater than or equal to 2. So that lets me know it's a closed circle on 2. And then I should be pointing towards the numbers that's bigger, so it should be pointing out. And that lets me know that it's an OR problem because they point away from each other, which we knew that at the beginning because it told us that it was an OR problem. Number 9 says, what is the graph of the inequality? So on a question like this, you would actually have to pick out the graph, but let's just graph it. So we draw our number line. We have 2 in the middle. So numbers bigger than 2 is 3 and 4. And 1 and 0 are smaller than 2. And this say D is less than 2, so it should be an open circle on 2. That lets us know that 2 is not a part of the solution set, and it should point towards the numbers less than that. Number 10, absolute value of x plus 10 is equal to 1. In this case, we need to start by subtracting 10 from both sides, because we want to get the absolute value by itself before we think of breaking it into 2 equations. This is negative 9. There's no need to break this into 2 equations because the absolute value of x, no matter what you plug in for x, is never going to equal a negative number. Because remember, absolute value represents a distance from 0 on a number line, and nothing is a negative distance. So nothing is going to give you a negative 9 no matter what you plug in here. So this is actually no solution. There's no number I can plug in for x that would make that come out to be a negative 9. Number 11, Stephen wants to buy a $565 bicycle. Stephen has no money saved, but he will be able to deposit $30 into his savings account when he receives his paycheck each Friday. However, before Stephen can buy the bike, he must give his sister $65 that he owes her. For how many weeks will Stephen need to deposit money into his savings account before he can pay back his sister and buy the bike? So first let's define our variables. I'm going to let x represent the number of weeks. That he's saving. Alright, so we know he can deposit $30 per week into his bank account. But he owes his sister $65. So we can subtract $65 from it. And he wants to buy a bike that is $565. So this is our equation. And if we solve this for x, we can find out the number of weeks that he must actually save to be able to buy that bike. So here I'm adding 65 to both sides. And that's going to give us 630. So in reality, he needs to make $630 to be able to pay his sister and buy the bike. Divide this by 30 on both sides. And we should get 21. That's weeks. So he has to work 21 weeks. Number 12, which number is a solution?